You're listening to Underestimated, the podcast that helps overwhelmed small business owners turn their size into their unfair advantage so they can grow without burning out. Now here's your host, Shawna Suckow.
Have you ever struggled with how to get on the first page of Google? Well, you're not alone. It's a question and a challenge that every small business owner faces. And we're going to tackle today how all of that is changing. And I'm sorry to say, becoming more and more irrelevant. There's a whole new thing to learn out there, and it is called GEO, not SEO. So we're going to dive in and figure out, okay, what's the difference and how do you change up your website and your visibility so that you can be found using GEO. So let's dive in. SEO, search engine optimization, is the thing that we're all used to. It's where Google would find you and rank you on a page based on keywords and based on metadata and based on links and things like that. Well, that is all going away. So we need to learn now GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, which means AI is looking for you and figuring out whether or not to recommend you. So if you have searched anything lately on Google, you probably have been answered by Gemini, which is Google's version of AI or ChatGPT. And you'll see that paragraph at the beginning of the page saying, hey, this, and this, and here's a YouTube video about that, and here's what I recommend. That's GEO at work. And then below that, you will see the traditional links that we are all used to, where you have to, as a customer, as a consumer, do a little bit more work. Well, many consumers now are starting not at Google necessarily, but they're starting with ChatGPT, or they're starting with Claude, or they're starting with any number of tools that they're comfortable with that are AI tools, and they're searching differently for the products and services that they need. So that means that we are no longer rewarded as much by all those keywords and links and metadata. They still matter, but they're getting less important, unfortunately. So as a small business owner, we have to figure out how to stay relevant when all of search is changing, or we face becoming invisible online, and no small business can afford that. So what does GEO reward? Well, it rewards credibility, your trust factor. It rewards expertise and helpfulness and consistency, consistent visibility. So GEO now, if somebody asks a question, GEO will search the entire body of knowledge that's available to it online, and it will recommend the maybe 2 or 3 businesses that fit that customer's search the best. It's not going to give it a page of, it's not going to give that customer a page of 10 different links and they can go to the next page and the next page. So what that means is the way customers are searching for you is also changing. It used to be that we would go on Google to find something and we would do something like CPA, Minneapolis, for small businesses, maybe. And then we would narrow down and we would have to do much of the work in sorting through and comparing ourselves. But now, as customers, what we can do, and what many of us are doing, is asking a question. Who's the best CPA in Minneapolis for a small business owner like me? So the question becomes the thing, not the keywords, because we are not throwing in keywords as much anymore as we are just asking questions in normal language. So what do we do with that as small business owners? Well, that is the million-dollar question. So I have a list of where AI pulls from when it is asked to make some sort of recommendation. Websites, reviews, so like Google, Yelp, whatever, podcasts that maybe you've been on, YouTube, videos that you have made, Reddit. Have you been recommended on Reddit, which is huge? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you visible there? Articles or blogs that you've written, mentions across the web, authority signals in general, anything that is going to signal trust, expertise, helpfulness, value, whatever. And so that is what it's looking at, the entire body of work, not just your website. So, eek, what do we do with that? Well, the future of all of this GEO lives with small businesses more than big businesses because we can be specific and we're so much better at building trust and feeling human and talking in a way that makes us more findable when a human asks a a question in human language. So we actually have a leg up. We have an opportunity here that is so valuable that has not existed to this degree ever before. So when I say small is your superpower, now is the time where that is more true than it's ever been. So that means that we have to restructure how we are promoting ourselves and how we are writing things on our website, and not to mention all those things outside of your website, but I'm going to focus just on your website today. We have to start creating the content that is going to answer real questions the way that real people ask them. So that means figuring out, first and foremost, okay, with my business, what questions are people asking that I might be the answer to or the solution to? And the best way to figure this out is by using AI and going to AI and just asking in normal language, hey, I'm a small business owner. I sell X, Y, or Z. What types of questions would customers ask? Like, what are the top 3 to 5 questions that they ask that I could be recommended for? And start there. And then what we do becomes really interesting. And what that means is the way that we describe our business has to totally change because nobody is searching award-winning lists. They're not searching for the way that we have described ourselves. They're not searching for a list of features and benefits. They are looking for answers to their questions. So they will ask, like, rather than best air conditioner repairs Topeka, they're going to say, why is my air conditioner leaking water? Or help me find out how to fix this leaking air conditioner. So they're going to be taken to YouTube. They're going to be shown Reddit. They're going to be shown a couple businesses if those businesses have answered this question on their website. So this is where getting very specific is going to help you stand out. It's not that we can stuff all those keywords like maybe you've done in the past to try to game the system. And that is something that corporations especially could throw a lot of money at. So we even struggled then, but now we can really succeed based on how GEO can find us. It all comes down to AI understanding context now, not just looking for keywords. So we have to build a knowledge base essentially on our website that gives AI the context it needs to make sure that it is recommending the correct things. That means that detailed testimonials matter more. You can't just have, they were the best. I had a great experience, because what is somebody going to search for that is the solution to? They may use the word best, but every one of your competitors probably has best on their website somewhere. So that's not differentiating you. They're going to be looking for credentials, of course, but they're going to be looking for case studies, and they're going to be looking for frequently asked questions. They're going to be looking to make sure that if they are looking on LinkedIn, that what you have there is updated, that your Google profile is updated, that you are consistently visible across whatever platforms you choose to be on. And this is a whole other episode, but I did an episode on which platforms you should be on. And I am standing by my suggestion, my belief that you should only be on 2 of your top platforms. Wherever your customers hang out, figure out what the two platforms are, because you don't have time, money, or energy to throw at just every single platform out there and see what sticks. Better to go deep on one or two platforms consistently and deeply than, go wide and just not be able to do any one of those really well. So I just went through this myself. I'm trying to update. So I just built a new website. Hope you'll check it out. It's thebuyerinsider.com. But I'm working on GEO because I need to be findable. A lot of event planners that would hire me for speaking, for example, are on the younger side and they are using AI. I have several speaker colleagues that have been found through ChatGPT. So the way that generations are searching, that's becoming different too. But even if my dad, who's 84, searches on Google, he's still going to get an answer through Gemini. So it matters more if they're going straight to the tool where everything's AI, but even on Google, things are changing. So what can you do? So this is what I just did for my website. I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, what are the top 4 to 5 questions that small business owners would ask about their marketing? And so I have two audiences. I have small business owners because I do marketing assessments and I consult, but then primarily I am a professional speaker and I speak at primarily associations where small business owners attend to get their annual networking education, whatever. So I really have two different audiences. So we're going to focus today on you, my small business owner audience. So I went and asked, what are the questions that you struggle with the most? And it gave me the top 4. And then it recommended create what it called pillar pages around each of my 4 questions that I want to address. The first one is how do I fix my marketing without a big budget? That's a really common question. I talk about that all the time, but my website needed to be updated. And so I created a page with kind of a long blog answering that question. But then also on that page, I added an FAQ. So for frequently asked questions, I answered all the versions of that question that somebody might ask. So if somebody asks that question, AI is more likely to find that exact question and the fact that I have answered it. And the answer is almost more important than the exact worded question. Both are important, but the fact that I have answered that, because AI is looking for context, it's looking for trust signals, it's looking for expertise, rather than me saying, expert speaker on small business marketing. That's, they're going to search for something different than that. Like, who's the best speaker for my audience of electricians who own their own businesses? So I need to be able to answer as best I can. Now, I can't obviously answer for every industry, but I can certainly create then FAQs around different variations of that question and different answers, legitimate answers to what people would actually need help with, because I don't want to just be like SEO is keyword stuffing. I don't want to be answer stuffing I want it to actually be helpful. But then on that same page, so I've got my long article that answers all the questions. And then I've got FAQ that goes a little bit deeper than one blog can and answers shorter sentences or paragraphs. And then I have links to my blogs that deal with that question specifically on that page, because internal links still matter. I have links to my podcast episodes as well, because internal links still matter. And if I have been interviewed on like a different podcast or on TV or whatever, I link to that because external links still matter. So I'm creating this whole body of expertise around that one question. So that is going to hugely increase my findability when an event planner searches, or when a small business owner searches for somebody who can help them with their small business marketing. Another thing that I am doing around that particular pillar page is I'm also including testimonials that answer specific things like, wow, Shawna really helped me with my small business marketing. I don't have a huge budget. If there's something that somebody has said about me in the past, I would absolutely put that testimonial on that pillar page. So I want to load that pillar page with as much context as possible, and then have these kind of these fingers, if you will, that branch out, I guess branches that branch out, that have even more solutions with my blogs, my podcasts, and other resources. And I can link to LinkedIn articles. I can link to, anything external from my website that will be helpful. My book, I can quote my book that answers these exact questions. I haven't done that yet, but what this means is if you get the opportunity to ask a customer for a testimonial, whether that be written or whether that be on video, and video is the best. It's still the best because you can put it on YouTube. YouTube is indexed by Google because Google owns YouTube, but people are searching YouTube for solutions now more than ever before. So video is almost always the best because we're also not a reading society as much as we used to be. So if I have helped a small business owner with their marketing, I can now ask them specific questions like, how did I help you fix your marketing without a big budget? And so the answer that I get is going to help me with that pillar page. So I need to be more strategic when I'm asking for testimonials and ask those questions. If you send out a survey, for example, ask the specific questions that are those pillar page questions. Ask those exact questions on your survey so you get the answers to that specific question. That makes sense? So in summary, think about what pillar pages you can add to your website, and then what those branches can be, both within your website and externally, where you might be mentioned or your company might be mentioned for any reason. If maybe you partnered with a local nonprofit or something and they've mentioned you and they've linked to you, make sure you link to that. And so that's going to help telling real stories about how you helped somebody fix X, Y, or Z, and answer that question yourself and write a case study about that or write a blog about that. Be sure and infuse that with real human language, because you want to be found not the way that a professionally written article sounds, but a blog, as if you're talking to a neighbor, as if you're answering a real customer and they're right in front of you. You're not going to use buzzwords. You're going to say, hey, this is what I recommend. And this other customer had this problem and here's what happened. So think about that as well as you go through creating this new context so that AI can find you and recommend you as the answer to customers' exact needs. This has been Underestimated. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to Underestimated, hosted by Shawna Suckow. To connect with Shawna, go to thebuyerinsider.com.